Welcome to the Wealthy Speaker Podcast, the show that offers you tips and strategies to help speakers build the business of their dreams. Now here's your host, 30-year industry veteran and business coach, Jane Atkinson.
Well, welcome everyone to the Wealthy Speaker Podcast. I'm your host, Jane Atkinson, and today we are in for a treat. My special guest, returning, I think for the second time, is Judi Holler. Welcome back, Judi.
It's good to be here. I said to you when we got on, I feel like this is a little bit of a family reunion. You have been such a big part of my speaker story and how I got started in the business. So Jane, this is like so full circle and I'm so happy to be here.
I miss you.
Same. I watch you though. I see what you're up to.
Yeah,
so I feel like, but it's not the same.
Busy though, isn't it? That it's hard to really keep up with everybody in any real meaningful way for me. So tell everybody who doesn't know who the amazing Judi Holler is. Tell everybody give everybody a snapshot of your speaking business today.
Yeah, I would say, I think, I'm an artist. I think that's the biggest transformation I've made over the years, where I've really started to self-identify. And we could talk about this as an artist, not just a corporate keynote speaker, which has allowed me so many new spaces to play in and so many new creative freedoms and so many new ways to express myself. And I think that can be a really fun conversation for us to have on the podcast, because I think we can put ourselves in some of these proverbial boxes. And I've sort of come out of a big creative one. And I self-identify as an artist, a guide, of course, a prose speaker, an author, a writer of words, a speaker of words, a poet, and really someone who's here to bring people back home to themselves so they can build lives and careers that feel like their own. And I think for so long, I built my career in corporate America. You know that. I was 39 when I started speaking professionally. So I had this like 20-year corporate career. I was like corporate Barbie, right? And then that career started butting up against like my work as an artist. I started studying improv and doing that professionally. And so by day, corporate, by night, art and improv and all of those life skills. And I slowly started teaching them on the keynote stage. But what I found over the last 9 years of speaking, pro speaking, was that I started doing a lot of masking, and I started blending in more than I wanted to. And I started playing it a little safe. And, I would show up and do my corporate Barbie improv talks, and they were great. And I was very booked, blessed, and busy. But inside I was slowly dying because there were so many things I wanted to say and do and become and be. And I was just afraid to dip my toe in that pond. And so 2 years ago, I sort of 3 years ago now, Jane, came out of that creative closet and feel like I'm now on the path of purpose, which is really to help people figure out how to really self-express and realign and re-identify when they need to. So corporate turned artist, here we go.
Okay. So did you have to travel through any kind of like dark night of the soul to get there? I know that's really like a deep expression.
Yes.
I'm used to it because I live in the land of woo-woo, but dark night of the soul is just like, almost reaching your breaking point. Talk a little bit about that, because I think that there's we want to talk about the metamorphosis, but let's just sit in the ick for a second and tell me about what it felt like to not being able to express yourself truly for who you are.
Yeah, it felt like migraines. It felt like tension. It felt like bitterness. It felt like anger. It felt like, oh, easy for her. Everything's so easy for them. And a lot of bitterness. For me, it manifested as bitterness and jealousy and anxiety and anger. And I wasn't mad that other people were self-expressing. What I found out is that I was mad at myself for not allowing myself to go the places I knew I could go to. I have full body chills. So yes, Jane, it brought me to my knees. I lost myself in 2022. And I've been on this 3-year journey of kind of coming back home to myself. And that's really what my forthcoming book is all about. It's the reawakening. There's like four sections in the book. I hate to call them sections because this book is like more of an oracle than a book, but I talk about the pain. We begin there, going through pain, facing your pain, seeing your pain, breaking. Breaking at 48. Like I broke it like 47, turning 48, right? Think about that. And I was like, oh, I'm way too late. Like, what am I doing? Why would I kill this corporate career? It's working. Like I'm booked, blessed, and busy. What am I doing? Why would I burn down what is working? But my soul could not do it anymore. And we can unpack that story too. But the dark night of the soul was real depression, anxiety, jealousy, comparison, tension, bitterness. That's how it sort of manifested in my body. And all that was doing, because anytime you feel tension, this is how you know you're out of alignment, is when that tension shows up. Because tension in any capacity is a deviation away. It's how you know you are deviating away from who you were born to be, what soul's purpose is. And so if you're getting the migraines, if you're getting the jealousy, if you're getting the bitterness, if you're getting the like, oh, that crabby energy, that like negative, you're deviating away from the path. And alert, alert, alert. So how do we get to feeling as good as we can, as fast as we can, to get back into the abundance we deserve? We're getting kind of more spiritual here than I thought we would.
Really
but this is like where I'm going. I feel like I was put on this planet to be a bit more of a spiritual sort of concierge in the world today, because our corporate needs it now more than ever. People are lost. And you know what, Jane? Like I woke up one day and I was like, what is real for me? Like what everybody's saying, keep it real and be real. And Judi, you're so real. But I'm like, am I?
No, I'm not.
You know, like, am I really? And at 47, going to be 48, as I stare down the barrel of 50, like, what is that story? And who do I want to become? And what's that work I really want to be doing the rest of my life? Like, what do we need today now more than ever? And so I didn't know what real was for me. So Jane, I went on a 3-year journey of figuring that out. Like a lot of self-discovery, a lot of darkness. Here's something I'll tell you. Here's some real talk. You know how many gigs I had last year? I mean, I took myself off the road. 7.
Okay,
Now,
that is news to me.
7.
Wow.
And I say it proud. Now listen, some of that was on purpose and some of that was by accident, because when you know what they say in the biz, when you speak, you speak, when you speak, you speak. And it's so true, because I lost a little momentum, but I'm so glad I had the guts to do it, because I found me. And I woke up Holler at Your Dreams, and I wrote the book, and I healed my soul. And Jane, I'm now giving a keynote on stage that I'm like, oh my God, where has this been my whole life? Like, I could lose teleprompter and I'm just telling the truth. I'm telling the stories, and it feels really good to finally be there. But yes, I went through the dark night, to answer your question.
I really want to call this, from corporate Barbie to what would be the fill in the blank of the two? Like,
yeah, from okay, well, the spiritual one. So from corporate Barbie to divine assignment, or from corporate Barbie to soulful guide into like I want to guide people back home to themselves. I think we don't even know what intuition is, because brain, and this is what I teach on the keynote stage now, because brain is louder, faster, and more practiced than soul. And we're demanding creativity and innovation in corporate, but we don't know how to create the conditions for it. So I bring like that artful, playful energy to corporate systems and structure, because none of it's going to work without the soul of the human. That's what's always going to make things different. So maybe like from corporate Barbie to like soulful guide, I don't want to say intuitive guide, but like a guide. I feel like I'm more of a guide than a speaker, right?
Yeah. And I think that's kind of
artistic guide. Maybe it's artistic guide, right? Like,
okay, we got it. Artistic guide. So how much, okay, so basically you burned the boats.
I burned it down, Jane.
How much, and as a moderate burner of the boats myself, last 2 years, I have done it slightly differently, but I have basically shed my business of a whole lot of stuff.
Wow.
A whole lot of stuff that wasn't feeling, and it felt like I had had my foot on the gas pedal. I had been hustling for
Yes.
25. I just had my 23-year anniversary of my own business.
Congrats.
For 22 and a half years, it felt like I had my foot on the gas. I was hustling, and I just said, I don't want to do that anymore. And so I didn't have a major dark night of the soul, but you gave me goosebumps in the first part of this conversation because that's so meaningful. And so let's talk about fear for a second. Your first book was called Fear is my Homeboy. And
Yeah.
so you kind of had it down on fear, but how much fear was involved in this transition? Okay, so talk about how many speeches you were doing, and if you don't mind giving me
Sure.
numbers,
I love it. I'm here to be real. Yeah.
give me like the lowdown of, because we're
Yeah.
talking like $1 million in the year prior to
Yeah.
this, right?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
2020, ironically, 2020, I mean, my first book, Fear is My Homeboy, as you mentioned, came out in 2019. Then the world shut down, but 2020 was a great year. I was a radio television major. We pivoted to virtual really fast. I come from the events industry. That was my previous life. So, I mean, my friends were high. And I was talking about fear. You know what I mean? Everybody was afraid. So, I mean, we were busy. 2020 was a great year. 2021 was a great year. 2022 is kind of like record. 2021 and 22 were record where I got to like right under a million gross,
Okay.
pre-tax gross. I was like,
Yes.
right under. So we call it a million. I don't know. When you're 20K away from a million, we're calling it a million. So
Close enough. Thank you very
it's
much.
close
Yes.
enough. But gross, right? So I mean, killing it. Then all of a sudden, 2020, I moved to the desert. This is when I leave the Midwest. I lived in the Midwest my whole life. I move over to the desert, right? I'm like, at 21, I started losing myself. Jane, I'm doing all, for COVID, sure, but I started creating planners and I'm playing with sequin and disco balls and I'm making all this weird stuff. And, I'm just kind of like trying to find my footing because I can't articulate this feeling I'm having, this visceral feeling of change. It's so easy to phone it in and do the same thing year over year over year. It's a
Could have milked
lot
that for
harder.
another 10 years.
I could have, Jane, I would have been so booked, blessed, and busy, right? Just corporate Barbie phoning it in. But my soul was like,
Dying.
pacing the hallways of my head at night. I was miserable. I couldn't. So I moved to the desert. And what do we do when we feel this tension? We start doing all the things to fix it. So I hire the healers. I bust out the crystals. I buy the new planner. I reorganize my office. I get the new system. I hire the coach. I look at the new brand manager. I redo the website. I redo it again. I get a new assistant. Like, it's all going to fix me, right? It's all going to fix me.
Oh, please. I hope you all are listening to this because I know you can relate.
Oh yeah. And if you want me to tell you the real story, I'll tell you the real story. And I'm saying this on keynote stages now. And here's the truth. And I think it's going to be invaluable for everyone that listens to this pod. Because if I had heard this story 10 years ago when I was getting started, I would have just went, okay, deep breath. I just need to be me. So here's the shift. Here's when this just happened for me 6 months ago. I call it my creative coming out of the closet. So 2022, things start falling apart. I start outsourcing my power. I start asking for all the opinions. I start hiring all these people. Fix me. What's not working? So I have this deep desire, download, dream, visceral knowing that I wanted to wake up this verb I was born with. I wanted to help. I was put here to help people holler at their dreams. And this isn't about being loud. This is about taking action. It's about self-leadership. It's about self-expression. It's about aligning organizational accountability with individual authenticity. But I knew I wanted to use this verb and I had a dream that I wanted to help people holler at their dreams. So it came to me, and I'm pretty good at listening to my intuition because I was born with that. If you've studied any human design, I'm a 4-6 projector. And one of the things that's alive and wake in my chart is this deep sacral energy that I have. So Fear is My Homeboy was very similar. Deep download from something bigger than me that I caught and ran with. This was Holler at Your Dreams. So I launched it to the world in 2020. It was like December of 2022. So essentially beginning of 2023. I launch it. We rebrand the website. We've got the look. We've got the feel. We've got the suits. We've got the thing. And Jane, it's like crickets. Okay. Everybody's like,
huh?
Okay, so yeah, it was just like, me, I expected the phone to be ringing off the hook. Everybody like, oh my God, and all the bureaus, everybody's going to go crazy over me. But like, nobody's calling. And it was like, what is happening? And I'm like, okay, well, it's December. So let's just let things sit for a minute. And instead of me doing what I normally would do, which is let something be, let it become, let us listen. Let's still do our first body of work. Let's not burn all that down. Let's listen. Let's slow play this. Let's get curious. Let's test some things on stage. Instead of giving it time, I panicked. So this is where the outsourcing really started happening. I started calling people for opinions, and I'm like, you know what I need? This clearly isn't working. I need a manager. Someone's going to help me fix this, who really understands the business. And I'm not saying that there's not value in managers, but let me land the plane with the whole point of the story. So I start making all these calls to all these brand managers and speaker people and different folks in the industry. And I get on one of those calls, and this person says to me, not out of care, but out of critique, she says to me, she goes, holler at your dream. She goes, cute. How's that working for you? She goes, are you busy? And I wasn't at the time. So I panicked even more. I didn't hire her, obviously. I went with someone else, and we rebranded everything. This person, out of great care and concern for me, had a great idea to redo everything to be the verb, this catchphrase that corporate America was going to understand, right? People aren't going to understand holler your dreams. People don't want that. They want their people getting results and taking action. They don't need people hollering at dreams. We need people getting stuff done. So we're going to do be the verb. So I'm like, okay, it's be the verb. So I changed the website. I changed the keynote. I changed the title of my forthcoming book. I changed it all again, Jane, relaunch everything. And I am dying inside. I can't even watch video of me giving this keynote. I was miserable giving the keynote. I'm snapping at my husband. I'm, breaking out. I'm anxious. I'm irritable. I'm bitter. I'm literally not making a decision on the cover of my book. I mean, I was ticking off my whole team, and I'm spending all this time, all this money, all this energy, and I could not make decisions. I wasn't having fun on stage anymore. And then all of a sudden it hit me. And this was in February of 2025, literally 6 months ago. Is that 6 months ago? I don't know, but it was February of 2025. I wake up at 3 a.m. I don't know why we always wake up at 3 a.m. when these things happen, but I wake up and I'm like, I am literally painting my life's canvas with someone else's brush. And none of this is mine. None of it is mine. And I have learned, and this is the keynote in my new body of work. Literally, this is the message in everything I create now. This is like my anchor. If something doesn't belong to you, it will not stay with you, and you will not want to stay with it. So whether it's a limiting belief, a version of success that's no longer yours, clothes in your actual closet, a relationship that now has tension, a version of you that cannot come with, if it is not yours, it will not stay, and you won't want to stay either. So I called it all back. I shut it all down. I got rid of the team. I redid the website. I rebranded my book to Holler at Your Dreams. I did it all from my soul. I redid now I'm like having more fun than I've ever had. The abundance, the doors, the opportunities, the clients, the stages, it's not like it all happened overnight, but from February to today, I can feel a massive momentum shift moving in my direction because I'm moving in my direction. You see what I'm saying?
You got into alignment.
I got into alignment, and it took so much guts. I had to literally use the concept in my first book to make this happen. Like I had to relearn, like I had to make fear my homeboy. I had to understand that this is fear and this is perfectionism, and that's a poison. These are pretending to be vitamins, and these are actually really dangerous. And I did the work on myself. I regulated my nervous system. I slowed down. I stopped looking at everybody on social. I always tell my speaker friends, I go, I love you, but I don't watch you. So if you need something, call me, because I'm not watching, because I can't. Because I'm so in my purpose and in my power.
Sometimes focus inward.
Yes.
So that, and I love that you are recognizing how you reached out to so many people for advice that it all became very, very muddled,
noisy
in your own mind. And so what really had to happen was you getting quiet and listening to yourself and then just making a decision. How hard is it to just make a decision and proceed forward, even if it's not right? Like, I mean, you didn't know this was going to work 5 months ago. You didn't know. You were just praying, obviously, that
Yeah.
it did. But it's so hard to just make that decision and say, no, this is right. And then go.
Yeah, it's interesting. Soul always knows, intuition knows. One of my dreams, if I could close my eyes and envision a world that I'd love to live in, it's the world where like intuition is primary brain, because brain, what you're saying, the fear, the anxiety, the past data, like brain's job is to keep us safe, literally survival. And it's really good at its job. And we need our brain. I'm not here to hate on our brain. I love the brain.
Yes.
However, yes, and the brain uses past data to make decisions today. So the brain's going to go, well, Judi, the last time you rebranded, it didn't work. You better not do that again. Or the last time you wore the pink suit on stage and you got some weird looks from the corporate guys, let's not wear the pink suit. Can we put Barbie back in the box? And Judi, the last time you were on that podcast with Jane, you talked a little fast and you listen back and you're like, oh my God, you talk too fast. You're too excited. Can you be somebody different? And so you see what I'm saying? And then, so we're pulling ourselves constantly into the past with all of this like brain crap. Whereas soul, she always knows. Soul knows where you're going. So trusting soul feels like being scared and doing it anyway, and knowing that you may not have the solution. You cannot predict the future, but you know the solver. You know yourself. And I'm like, look at all the evidence I have of doing hard things. Jane, look what I've built. Look at what I've done so far. Look at the stages I've spoke on and the people that I've met and the people I call friends and what I've done in 10 years. So I think I have evidence of success. I am proof of life, proof of living, proof of reinvention itself. And so because I have that level of like evidence in self, that self-efficacy, I feel like I can move forward with confidence, knowing that no matter what happens, I'm gonna be okay because I've done all these other hard things and lived, and look at what they've become. And for us as content creators, as speakers, as artists, as story, every bad thing that happens to you is actually like, ooh, I'm going to use that. That is the best thing ever, right? Like, oh my gosh, like, I can't believe I gave away all my power. All these people getting rich off my insecurities and I'm over here going soul bankrupt. Ooh, that's a story. That's going to help somebody else. Because if I, confident, pretty cool and collected Judi and pretty talented Judi can go through that, who else is hiding? Who else is going through it and not talking about it? And our industry has a bad habit of that, where people don't want to share. They're like, everybody wants to look like we're all together, when most of us are like, huh? What am I doing?
The NSA convention was
yes, they were all here.
Was just in Scottsdale, and I haven't gone in many years. You cannot get me away from my cottage in the summertime to go to a place that's
rightfully so. Here.
But when I used to go, I would meet people and they would give me the spiel about how well they were doing. They would give me all the mask information. I'm speaking a lot and da 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 da. And then I would say goodbye and leave them and go to talk to somebody else. And I would seek out the people who were being real and raw. And actually, I'm kind of struggling right now. And there were people who were losing parents and, all kinds of things. And I'd be like, those are the conversations I want to have. They're deep and they're rich and they're meaningful. Somebody showing up with their stupid cape on and saying and beating their chest in front of me does not do a damn thing for me personally.
Right.
Okay. Sorry, that was just a little rant in the wrong direction. I want to know.
No, it's great though, but it's valid. I think these These are called honest signals coined by researchers at MIT. I mean, you say things without saying anything. And so people can feel realness. Like this is why like a lot of times you'll get a reaction. You know how when you meet someone, Jane, or you're talking to someone like that and you're like, ooh, I just get a weird feeling. There's just some, it's because when someone feels off to you, it's because they are off in themselves and there's a misalignment there. There's a disconnect from who they're being and who they are. And so you can feel that when a speaker is going, well, it's great to have a good year, but you can feel a difference between someone who's like genuinely having a good year and being like, oh, and by the way, how are you? And like they change the subject or ask more questions about you or talk about what's inspiring them feels very different than the performative corporate mask. And I think this is why the work on self-expression and just soul and intuition is so important in corporate, because there's so much masking, not just in our industry, but in all industries. Like we're conditioned to mask because if someone saw the real me, am I okay? Am I safe to be me? I don't know. Am I safe to do that? So kudos to you that you are also someone, just to give you some flowers, but you're someone that you clearly create environments where people feel safe to be around you. If you've got the majority of the people in your world saying, Jane, and they feel like they can really come to you. I mean, kudos to you for creating an environment where people feel safe to be the full expression of themselves. When I was working with you, I always felt really safe to say, here's what I know. Here's what I don't know. Here's what am I doing wrong? What am I doing right? And that's a beautiful gift.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Your flowers. I would like to know, how have your audiences changed? Okay. So we go from corporate Barbie to artistic guide, and we're now talking about people putting on their masks in corporate and all these other things. How have your audience shifted? Are they still corporate audiences? Are they slightly different in any way?
Yeah, I think I'm in the middle of that shift because this work is new-ish. But it's interesting. One of the things I have stopped doing, I had this bad habit of judging my audiences.
Oh.
Where I would not only judge maybe a human in the room, like if she had a weird face, I'd be like, oh my God, she hates me. Like resting bee face, right?
You would judge them incorrectly.
I would judge it. I would be so wrong. And I've learned a lot of powerful lessons there. Some of those stories I tell on stage. But I also had this bad habit of judging like my audiences, meaning like, oh, this industry isn't for me. This type of room isn't for me. Oh, I'm not for men. I'm not for banking. I'm not for this. And sometimes I am, and sometimes I'm not. So my audiences are shifting, but I've just now realized that, we all have a soul, we all have an intuition, and we all have a brain we need to turn the noise down on. And whether you're a man, a woman, a person in the world doing anything today, you are going to navigate change and uncertainty, and you're going to have to figure out how to come back home to self because the world has changed. We are no longer relying on the old school, outdated systems and structures to guide us. We are being called back home to self and self-sovereignty and individual power and creativity. And all the research is pointing to this too, by the way. So World Economic Forum reports that creativity, individuality, and self-awareness are going to be 3 of the top 10 skills the future of work is going to demand. So if self-awareness is in the top 3, ooh, who are you? Yeah. And what is your perspective? And what inspires you? And do you have a point of view? And are you open? Or do you let go? Do you understand what surrender is? Do you know how to hear intuition? Right? How do you tap into that inner artist you already are? So my audiences still remain corporate because I think corporate needs this work now more than ever.
Yes.
So I'm not letting it go, but the people that hire me that I have the most fun with are the CEOs in a suit, but they're wearing Nike Air Force Ones, right? They're open-minded. They're cool. I am working with a lot of, I love my favorite rooms. I think the rooms I'm attracting, I do a ton of work with women in leadership, high-level women in technology, women inside of big corporate structures. A lot of these corporate organizations have like women of Edward Jones, women of Bank America. So I will attract the women inside of corporate, but the door that's opening a lot now are the people who are like, want to be in the room. So it's the like real estate agents that are building their own business. They're not there because their boss said you have to go to this annual leadership meeting. They're there because they've invested and paid and signed up to be in that room. And I think those are my favorite audiences, but also coming now more and more because people are hungry for this sort of information. How do I hear myself? How do I be myself?
Yeah, I call that category people in charge of their own destiny.
Yes,
Might work for Remax, but they have their own little small business
you
inside
bet.
Remax.
My favorite.
Yeah, so they're still in charge of their own destiny and they are willing to invest in
Yeah.
themselves, which
And they're
is,
eager. There's
yeah,
energy to be there. They're not sitting there like this. They're sitting there like this. They're
yeah, I
open. So instead
had to
of this,
come. Yeah,
yeah.
that's lovely. Lovely. Okay. Your team gave me all these questions to ask you, and I've asked zero of them
Oh,
so
I knew
far.
you. This is
Apologies,
improv.
team. But here's one. What's one modality or tool that has had the biggest impact on your self-discovery
Oh,
journey in the past 5 years?
oh my gosh. Hands down. This is what brought me back home to myself. And I'm actually secretly,
Oh,
well, I guess I'm kind of saying it out loud now, but I'm not advertising this because I think you have to keep some things for you,
of
right? You
course.
have to have some things that you build for you. And then, like, I have this bad habit of like, I'm making music. And then I tell everybody about it on social. I'm like, oh, just go make music. Just go play. Just go be in the studio. Just go have some things for you until you figure out what they're going to be in the world. So I'm actually so human design is my answer to this question. I don't know if you've studied any human design work. Do you know anything about it? Okay,
No. You
so I'm getting
enlighten
like
me.
I've been working with a private coach for a couple of years now. It is basically a self-discovery system rooted in how to best use your energy
Mhm.
to increase your prosperity, to
Mm,
increase whatever that means for you. And no two people, there's 5 human design types, but it doesn't matter based on how you were born, when you were born, the time, date, year, location. We could be both 4-6 projectors and could be completely different worlds away from sort of how we operate. There's guides, there's gates and channels and all different things inside the intricacy of this system. But it's human design meets quantum physics, meets the I Ching, meets a little bit of astrology, meets science, meets math, and it's just a self discovery tool that I'm getting certified in right now, so I can take people on these soul diving journeys to
mm.
really come back home to themselves because it's been so transformational for me. So it's making up a little bit of my business now where I have a private practice, a soul dive practice where I take people on these beautiful journeys. They're 90 minutes long and they come back, I take all my favorite things in human design and sort of position and package it in a way that I think could get someone to where they want to go faster, from how to make decisions to what kind of environments you're going to thrive in and struggle in, how when you, Jane Atkinson, is in alignment and out of alignment. What is your key? It's called the pearl. What is the one thing that will make you prosperous, really, truly prosperous in life? What should your brand voice be? And these are all things that are so human design is like almost like a soul's GPS and a compass of your potential. What it doesn't keep in mind is your conditioning. So this is like your design when you were born. And if it's all the shadow sides are all fixed, it is the ultimate potential you have in this world when you heal yourself.
Yeah.
So conditioning gets in the way, masking, hustle, grind, nervous system dysregulation,
Yeah.
other people's opinions, being afraid of it. So when we can decondition some of this stuff and wake up, when I show people what's possible, they go, oh, so now we want to do the work. When I found out what was possible in myself, I'm like, oop, I better start healing my solar plexus because I'm
Yeah.
blocking all my abundance. So I started breathing into that. Right. And so it's just this beautiful tool that is really, oh my God. And I teach it. And it's one of my 6 laws of self-expression that I give in the toolbox, but I don't teach it on a corporate stage because it's just too much to unpack. It's almost its own keynote in itself, but I
Yeah.
do provide it as a tool for people to like begin that journey back home because it is, Jane, I will send you my favorite, you know what? I'll send you my favorite links so people can go and you can put them in the show
We'll
notes.
put them in the show notes. We would be so happy to do that.
Human design,
Design.
your
So
soul's map.
I've just enlightened myself and
You
perhaps
would love it. My spiritual sister from another mister, go down this rabbit hole. Watch out. It is so much fun. And if you ever want to soul dive, call me.
I already want to know all about it. And by the way, having gotten certified in thought process right at the beginning of COVID,
Yeah.
it was so worth it for my clients, Judy. It allowed me to help them get unstuck when they became stuck. And so
That's so beautiful.
I just think I'm encouraging you that the tool that you have invested in is going to be a total game changer for you and your coaching clients as well. That is
Yes.
lovely, lovely,
It's a
lovely.
tool to understand yourself and the way other people work. So I can help people understand like, oh, well, this is why you're feeling this way because like you literally have this channel, this gate, this open center, this open head, this,
Yeah.
your throat chakra is this or whatever. It's just unbelievable. But you're right. It's a beautiful tool. Like it's helping me understand my husband and the way he works. And I'm like, oh, well, no wonder he's that way. Like, of course. And so I just have, instead of getting frustrated, it's more empathy. And it's also like, ooh, that could be a tool in my business. I should
Mhm.
ask him more questions about this?
Love that. Love that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk a little bit on the creativity level here. If for those of people who are writing books, creating content, designing speeches, how
Ooh.
do you protect your creativity and joy?
Oh my gosh, date it, court it. This is totally stolen from Julia Cameron in her book, The Artist's Way. So
Oh,
if you haven't
yes.
read, oh my gosh, one of the things she writes about is going on like weekly creativity dates. So you've heard me talk about fear experiments. That's one of the big concepts in my first keynote, and fear is my homeboy. And I really believe like if you want to be brave, you have to go where you have no courage regularly on purpose in order to build it. Go where you have no confidence on purpose in order to build it. Same with expression. So now they're just called expression experiments. So I am not only, there's two things you could do: listener, keynoter, author, future, all the things you want to be in this world. Number one, date your expression daily. Get
Mhm.
uncomfortable regularly on purpose. Wear something new. Try a new food. Pick up the phone. Smile at a stranger. Take a different drive. All these, you don't have to climb Mount Everest to
Yeah.
be
Use,
brave. It's
use the wrong hand.
use the wrong hand. Oh my God, pick up a crochet kit. I just bought I went to an art. So let me back up. So play with your expression every day. Do
Yeah.
things uncomfortable every day in some way, because that's how you like build the muscle and you'll start caring less. It's why I've always worn really wild things on stage. Now I speak in my graffiti suits. That is a muscle. That is on purpose. Imagine leaving your room by yourself at 7 a.m. in a head to toe hot pink graffiti suit. Okay. People are going to talk. People are going to sniggle. People are going to high five and hug you. You're going to get love, but you're also going to get looks and you're going to get judgment. So by the time you get to the ballroom, you've already flexed the muscle and you're like, ooh, I just did that. And if I can do that, I can do anything. Right. So it's on purpose. Right. And I can't speak about courage and artistry and fear and like jeans and a t-shirt. So it's two prong. But I think the second thing you can do to make an immediate impact, and I just did this on Sunday, it was so much fun. I take myself on weekly creativity dates. So as long as I am in town and I'm here, like I went to an art store and I played with spray paint. I bought a bunch of spray paint because I want to like work on spray painting something. And I bought a little crochet kit. I'm going to crochet a little cactus. I'm like, why not? Don't tell anyone. This is like is this cool? Is this uncool? I don't know. We're going to make crocheting cool, but I'm going to crochet a little
Cool.
cactus. And I'm so excited. And I started though, before I went to the art shop, I went to this really 100 old historic 100-year hotel here called the Arizona Biltmore. And I looked
Yes.
at all the art and I walked around and it's a Frank Lloyd Wright hotel. And I had lunch by myself and I took pictures and I had my phone in airplane mode. And I just watched people. I sat in the lobby, not stalker, but like
Yeah.
observed humans and how they moved and how they dressed. And people come from all over the world. And that was my creativity date. And I'll tell you, it gave me some really cool things to talk about this week and write about this week. And I just feel like a little extra pep in my step as I stare at my crochet and my graffiti spray paint cans over here. That is something someone can do. If you want an interesting book, an interesting keynote, interesting conversations, an interesting life, go do interesting things. Go be like an interesting person and then tell us all about it. It ain't that deep. This stuff
Yeah.
isn't rocket science. Just go play, go be in your life. We
Yeah.
recreate to recreate. You know what I mean? And I think recreation's like the first thing cut when we get busy. And it's like,
It
actually,
really
that's the
is.
medicine.
It
That's
goes
the
by the
medicine.
wayside very,
Yeah.
very, very quickly. All right. In the interest of time, I want to say congratulations on feeling the fear and doing it anyway. This book sounds amazing, and I want you to tell people, A, how should they connect with you? Where's your favorite place to be connected with? And B, what's the date the book is coming out and where should they go?
I love it. Yeah. So the book is Holler at Your Dreams. Dangerously Inspiring Ideas for the Wildly Dope Soul. It's got some 90s energy. I'm very inspired by the 90s. I come from the 90s. I'm born in the 70s, but I come from the 90s. So the boombox is my muse. I love a good graffiti. I'm so inspired by graffiti. My goodness. So, so anyway, it is coming out on September 9th. That's the release date, but we're in pre-sales right now. So my goodness, we've got all kinds of bundles and book bundles and great things. We'll give you all the links so people can buy the book now and get it early.
Tell me where to go. Do you want them to come to
holleratyourdreams.com is where we are now for pre-sales. In a week, we'll have a universal link and we're going to be everywhere. Amazon, Barnes and Noble, all the places you can buy books. But the pre-sale bundle links are available at holleratyourdreams.com. And even when we go universal, everything will be there as well. So that's like your one-stop shop to learn about the book. I think I hang out the most on Instagram, so come see me there. And really, the book is more than a book. It's an oracle. I really wrote it to be a guide back home to yourself. It's a creative companion. It's a little bit of your hype woman, but it's an oracle. Like one of my favorite things to do with my books on my shelves, the books I keep in my office here, sometimes I'll have a question or I won't know what to write about, or I'll be stuck on like a newsletter idea, or I just need an answer to something. I will literally grab a book and I will ask the question and I will open the book and let wherever my eyes land be the answer. And so my book is designed in that way. So you can read it front to back. There's 365 original ideas. 65 are pieces of art, and then there's 150 pieces of original poetry and 150 pieces of personal development. And you could open it at any point, ask it a question, get your answer. You can read it front to back. There's 4 sections: the pain, the peace, the presence, and the paradigm. As you sort of come back home to yourself, you go through pain, you find peace through that pain, then you find yourself on the other side of peace. You step into that presence of who you're here to be. And then the paradigm is where we shift into a new dimension and who we could become. And sometimes we'll have to go back through it again because you're going to change and grow. It's this lifelong quest of reinvention and change and growth. And so this is a tool you'll be able to use to gift to all your favorite people, but to just gift yourself so that you can have some fun in your creative journey and stay inspired. So it's going to be very different than what people expect.
I love it. And you're such a walking example of this shift and change and evolution. So congratulations, Judi. I have loved catching up with you. I thank you for being so real and raw. You made me cry. And if run and get this book, you guys. I really do believe that this will be a game changer for those of you who are in need of some creative inspiration.
Oh, it's your creative companion, your creative guide. That's what it's for. And I wrote it in the mess. Like it healed me. It's what got me home. So you'll get a real-time look at what it looks like to move through pain, find peace, become, and shift into new levels. I mean, this book saved my life. I mean, really, it did. I wrote it to heal. And what I can't even believe I'm doing it, to be honest. I mean, I'm certainly nervous about, it's just different than anything. Yeah, I think if you feel a little fear about something, it's the right thing. I'm a little nervous because it's very vulnerable and personal.
Sure.
But if it healed me, it'll heal others. And most importantly, it'll make you more creative, no doubt.
Awesome. Thank you, listeners, for tuning in.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Judi, for being here with us. And with that, we're going to say, see you soon, Wealthy Speakers. Bye for now, everyone.
Holla.
Thanks for listening to the Wealthy Speaker Podcast. If you need help building the speaking business of your dreams, head over to wealthyspeakerschool.com and take advantage of our 20-minute next step call. Thanks for listening to the Wealthy Speaker Podcast.